Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for TeacherLists webinar on Back to School Supply Lists Made Easy for Schools and Families. My name is Charlene LaFerriere. I will be hosting the session today. My role here at TeacherList is, my title is Partner Services Manager, but what that really means is I am here as a school and district liaison for you folks, for anyone who is interested in learning more about TeacherList and how it can help you in your schools and districts interact and help your families more for the coming year. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please, there is a question section in the portal. Please feel free to send any messages or questions my way. I will answer them at the end of the presentation. And again, if there are any questions, any concerns, if you can't hear something isn't clear, please feel free to shoot me a message that way as well. Okay, so let's get going. Thanks again for joining us. So who are we and what is TeacherList? TeacherList is a digital school supply list solution. What does that mean? That basically means that TeacherList, we take those traditional back to school supply lists that I think we all grew up with, that are typically sent home in a Word document or a PDF of some type, and typically end up crumpled in the bottom of a backpack underneath, things from whatever was left over in the desk from the last day of school. And we digitize them. The thing to remember, or one reason that we came upon digital school supply lists, is that the school supply lists that we all grew up with are not responsive. They're hard to read on a phone. If they are posted on your website, they're not ADA compliant. Sometimes those lists are printed and stocked at local retail shopping stores, but not always. If they are at the store, they're typically a mess and thrown all over the floors. And I think if nothing else, we've learned this past year that when learning goes virtual, sending home a paper list is virtually impossible. Digital is truly the new norm now. So we take those pieces of paper, we digitize them onto our platform. Here we're able to instantly share the data with retailers as well as with any of our partners, including many EdTech partners, EdTech providers, as well as any of the links or iframes that schools and districts have on their websites. So we digitize those lists, we create digital lists for them. By doing that, we're able to share them with a click. There's no more downloads are required, no more making copies. Think of all the trees that are saved, the money that is saved in terms of saving those hard copy lists on paper. The lists are also responsive. They're super easy to read on a phone, and they're ADA compliant, which is even more critical as we enter this new digital world that we're in, that it's important for everything on your website to be ADA compliant, and supply lists are no different. They can help you stay in compliance. We also share these lists automatically with our national retail partners for both in-store as well as online shopping. That is a connection to our retail partners where one click allows families to go right to a pre-filled shopping cart. We also offer a number of convenient tools to quickly share these lists with families. So last year, we aggregated more than 1.6 million school and grade specific supply lists on our platform, which is a huge number, obviously. But it's also really important to realize that this was in the middle of a pandemic when so many schools cut back on what they were requiring parents and families to bring into the classroom, or so many were virtual, it didn't have lists, and then kind of second thought that at the last minute. But that is the amount of lists that we had on our site last year, which was pretty impressive. But we digitize them into a common format and then connect them with retailers like Amazon, Target, Walmart, Staples. And we make the annual school supply chore so much easier for teachers, schools, and especially our parents and families. Now you can truly one click to pre-populate that cart so that you don't have to go up and down the shopping aisles looking for that red folder and the red notebook or whatever. It is right in the shopping cart for you. The other thing I just wanted to comment on before we get really into the product is that a lot of times you may have already seen our product without recognizing the TeacherList name, or certainly your families have most likely used us. We are the data. We supply the data to the nation's top retailers. So when you go to Target or Walmart and you look at their back to school websites and you look at their supply list data for specific schools, you're actually seeing the TeacherList data. So how do we help your districts and schools? So we all know that getting your parents' attention early on, even before the school year starts, helps to ensure a successful school-family connection. And really, that's what we're all looking for, right? We all want our schools and our families to feel connected so that our kids can do the best they can. One thing we have noticed or we've seen is that studies have shown that one of the first things families look for before the start of school is that back-to-school supply list. Having your list available digitally helps make this easy. It helps your parents feel connected. So we also create a strong impression, a first impression. So knowing that parents are out there looking for those supply lists, it allows you to communicate and engage with them before school even starts. We're flexible. We allow you to tailor your lists for whatever type of learning environment is happening. So if you have in-school learning, if you have distance learning or virtual learning or some type of a hybrid of the two, you can create lists that will reflect what's going on in your schools and your district and your community right now. We also have a great feature which allows you to schedule your lists to be shared with parents and retailers when you want them to see your lists. So if you have those lists ready right now, but you're hesitant to post them out there because you don't want to get a bunch of questions from your families about what grade, what classroom their child is going to be in or so forth. I remember a lot of those questions parents always have. You can schedule them to be shared with your parents and our retailers at the date that you want them to see it. So if your last day of school is May 14th, then you can schedule those lists to be posted on May 14th or May 15th, whatever works for you and your community. It's also easy to update and maintain those lists from year to year. So it's simply logging into your TeacherList dashboard. You can, with a few clicks, update your lists for year after year or make some edits, do some changes. Whatever updates you need to make, you can easily do from your dashboard. As soon as those updates are made, the current lists are automatically shared everywhere with our retail partners, on your website with a link, anywhere that you have a link to. That one simple change on our dashboard will push those changes out to them automatically. Again, I referred to this earlier, but you're going to save thousands of dollars in paper costs. No more PDFs or printouts lost at the bottom of backpacks. I think it's even more fitting that this week is Earth Week, and thinking of all the savings of our trees, it's just not necessary. I mean, the list parents and families are used to communicating and getting their communication and their information from you digitally. Supply list is a natural transition. Again, it's easy to share. We have built-in share buttons that make it really easy for your school staff to notify parents when the lists are ready. I'll show you a little bit about those in a little bit, but it's super easy. And a question that always comes up, and I want to just kind of address it first off, is we are entirely free. We're free for schools, we're free for parents. The retailers, as I mentioned, use our data for their back to school sites. So they compensate us for that. That allows us to provide this service to you for absolutely free. There's no hidden cost, there's nothing. It's truly a free product. So we know that TeacherList is easy for schools and districts. It's also super easy for parents and families. The lists are available 24/7. You can access them via a desktop, your mobile, however your families are getting their information digitally, we can provide a way to help with that. Your lists are always up to date. The teacher updates are immediately reflected. If you have a teacher or a school that decides to add something over the summer, my husband was a middle school teacher. Inevitably, he would attend a session, some type of a seminar, and want to update what he's doing in the fall. school secretary would always be pulling her hair out because she'd already sent the lists to home and so forth. It's not a problem with the teacher list solution. That teacher can just say, hey, instead of 3 folders, I need 4. Make those updates on the list. It is immediately sent out to the retailers. Those lists are updated. They're updated on your website. If parents have been notified to be updated when your lists have been changed or posted, they'll immediately get a notification as well. It literally couldn't be easier for you. Again, one-stop shopping for busy families. I think that goes without saying that this is where we live in a busy time. Everyone's time is precious. We provide the ability to simply get all of the information out there. Parents can do it literally in minutes. And parents choose the retailer. I think that's also really important. One thing that is really important to us, and I know it's important to the schools and districts that I work with, is the opportunity to have options and choices. And you don't want to you don't want to tell your parents they have to shop at one certain place. Every family's different, every school's different. So you want to make sure that you offer options that are going to fit the economic and the financial needs of your families. So neither the school nor TeacherLists are involved in any of these transactions. We're just providing the information to your families. They can do with it what they want. So if they choose to go to Target, they can. If they want to go to Walmart, if they want to go to their local retailer, whatever they want to do, those choices are there for them. Going back to the online shopping, if your parents link through to one of our retailer sites, the items can be personalized or other items can be added in the same shopping trip. That helps you hit those total summary cart items, for those minimum balance needed that you can easily do. And the contact-free convenience that parents needed last year, I think we all recognize the fact the pandemic did a number to us. Most parents or most families figured out a way to do online shopping or online something to make safety paramount. And now, honestly, once you've discovered how convenient it is, most families don't want to go back. They've experienced how convenient it is to do your order on your phone for Target and in 5 minutes be at the curbside, have it loaded into your back seat. It's pretty easy, and I think we need to recognize that there are a lot of families that are going to expect that convenience moving forward. Bottom line, I think, though, that it's really important to recognize that parents love the convenience and knowing that their children are prepared for the first day of school. That's something that I think, especially moving into the next year, back to school is taking on such an important image in our world right now. Everyone's looking forward to when is everyone going to be back in the classroom, and helping parents in children feel that they are as prepared as possible is paramount. That's going to be so critical for folks, especially some of these little guys that haven't been in school for a year. It's going to be like, it's just a very new experience, and whatever we can do to help them feel as prepared and ready for the new challenge as possible is important. So now I'd like to just take a couple minutes, walk you through exactly how you can use TeacherList to simplify the entire back-to-school experience for your schools and your families. So we take those supply list documents or files that you typically already have, and we turn them into digital lists. So we have a proprietary, power loader, which accepts most types of files. So your Word docs, PDFs, any type of documents that you have, Excel sheets, you can load those into our power loader, and then our team will personally digitize them into a common electronic format. So the lists come into our system, they're personally reviewed and digitized by our team. This can take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, and it's just important to realize that it is actual humans that are inputting this information. And the reason we do that is because there are so many supply items across the country that have different meanings. So for instance, one part of the country may call it filler paper, someone else calls it notebook paper, someone else calls it lined paper. It all means the same thing in our database. It's just converted to something. But so we take all of those just to make sure that all of the nuances are adhered to. Because it can take 24 to 48 hours, I really strongly encourage you to get those lists into us as soon as you can, especially during our busy months, June, July. We are taking in thousands and thousands and thousands of lists. So the sooner you get it into us, the sooner it's in our system. Again, we have a scheduler feature, so even if you don't want it published for your families, it can still be in our system ready to go for when you are. So once the information and the data is in our system, we can then push the information onto our website, so teacherlist.com, as well as to our retail partners. We have a number of EdTech partners of all different types. They all receive that information at the same time. So again, it's just that contact-free convenience that parents needed last year and expect this year. So now I wanted to just walk you through exactly how it works. So when you are on our website, so in front of us right now is a district in Texas, Northside ISD. They've been using our platform. They love it. They've been super happy. Families have been happy. It's worked really well for them. They have a link on their district website that comes right to the TeacherList site. What you're seeing right now is a district page on the TeacherList site. We have set up district pages for all of the districts across the country. On here are all of the schools associated with your district. So one thing I would request of you is that as you're starting to get yourself set up to use TeacherList, one thing that you're going to want to do is navigate onto our site and make sure that we have your schools in your district set up correctly. That will help a lot of the frustration down the road if parents can't find your lists. So let me just kind of walk you through this. Yay, it worked. So the parent has come from the district site. They've gone to the district page on the TeacherList site, found their school, and now they see at the school level all of the different lists associated at that school. They click on the appropriate list, and all of the items on that list are viewable here. One thing that's important to realize is that you can have both branded items or non-branded items, depending on what you're looking for. A lot of teachers only want Elmer's glue sticks or Crayola crayons. You can have that. If you prefer to have all generic items, you can have that as well. In this example, the parent has chosen that they want to shop at Target. So they've clicked the Target icon, chose whether they want curbside pickup, in-store pickup, or home delivery. Now you're seeing all of the items that were on that TeacherList supply list that are matched to items at Target. So even if there isn't a specific branded item that was on the supply list, it obviously has to be matched to some type of a brand in the retail shopping cart. So at that point, a parent or a family member can change items. If you already have scissors from last year, you may not need them again this year. Simply delete them from the list. If there are other items that your child is going to need, say they need extra folders for music class or for an after-school activity, you can add those all in right away. From right here, if you have other children in that same school or from a different school, you can continue shopping. You can go back to the TeacherList site, find the appropriate list for yourselves, and add that all into your cart as well. It's super easy. So a couple things, just kind of talking about the one-click shopping experience, because I think that is something that is truly unique. We are the only folks that do this, and we're proud of that, but we're proud of the options that we offer. It's so nice and rewarding to know that we are helping families get their kids ready for back to school in a safe, convenient, contact-free manner. But depending on how your families want to do their shopping, they have any option they want. they can go in-store or not, and I'll talk about that in a second. But in terms of the one-click shopping, the retailer back-to-school sales generally start in full force late June, early July. That's generally when our retailers will open up their back-to-school sites, if you will. So when you go to our site, if you're checking us out, if you don't see the icons visible, it's because the specific retailer hasn't opened up their site yet. But don't worry, they're coming. Keep an eye out for sales and tax holiday weekends. That's another way that you can help out your families in terms of saving some money. And the other thing, when you're looking at the products and if you have some questions about why different products seem to be a little bit higher, please keep in mind that supply items, especially back to school, stationary type items, are very market driven. So the cost of glue sticks and crayons and folders and notebooks and all of that type of stuff is priced much more inexpensively in the summer months when everyone's buying it than it is in the March, April, May months when not as many people are purchasing it. So when you're looking at that, and if you're trying to figure out if this solution is going to work for your families, please keep that in mind. The cost of items on the retail sites, accessing them through TeacherLists, is exactly the same as it would be if you were going to each individual retail site on their own. So the TeacherList solution just gives you and your families the option to price comparison all of the different retailers we work with in one location, as opposed to going to Target, finding the items individually, adding them to their cart. You can do that automatically through the TeacherList platform. Thereby, you're really saving your families tons of time and a lot of money. You know, I had a lot of families that told me that last year they were at the beach, and when Walmart had some of their sales, they were buying their glue sticks from one people and folders from another. Now, I don't know that I would necessarily recommend people do that. That's a lot of driving around, but it worked for them. It worked for their families, and they were super happy and appreciative of it. So the other thing that's really important that TeacherLists offers is that parents can choose their own experience. So we know that back to school shopping, that list is critical, not only to helping families get ready for the new school year, but also to help families transition to a new school year. So for instance, last year, and again, I have a lot of friends who have kids who were going through the virtual learning, and that was tough. You know, there was never a time where it was, okay, now you're back to school like we've had in the past. And there was a lot of uncertainty for kids. Kids need that back to school time, having that supply list in hand, going through the items, checking them off as you go, gives you something tangible to hold on to. And, you know, I think that having that list at hand, going through it, it's an important milestone in transition for families getting ready to go back to school. So you can certainly do that online, or you can choose to do that in store. If you have family that want to go shopping in store for the back to school supply lists, you absolutely can do that as well. All you need to do is to, on your mobile phone, just transition to in-store use, and a checklist is going to pop up for you. So as you're going through the aisles, you can check off the items as you add them into your physical shopping cart as well. What a lot of families did last year is that they would purchase a lot of the stuff that, you know, not the fun stuff, so your pencils, your crayons, your markers, the stuff that your kids aren't necessarily going to care about. They would do that, pick it up in store, pick that up at the service desk, and then go buy the stuff that some of the kids, you know, your kids may want to have more of a say in, if they want certain designs on binders and your backpacks and that type of thing. That works really well. But it's all about, again, giving your families options of different ways to tackle the back to school experience. So again, we've talked about the fact that we are the only platform that integrates with leading retailers, and you've probably seen us without recognizing TeacherLists. So I just want to show you a commercial that Target ran last year. I don't know if the sound is going to be there, so hopefully bear with me. I'm not sure if the audio is there, so if it wasn't, I apologize. But that is just an example of how Target's School List Assist is using the data from the TeacherList system to fuel how they help their families. So when you no longer have to send your lists to Target, to Walmart, to Staples. We take care of that for you on the back end. You send them to us through the power loader or email them, and we take care of the rest for you. So some other features that families really like, we know that they love the retail connections, but there's one in particular that I'm super excited about, and I know that it's been a huge help for our Spanish-speaking communities. That's the Spanish translator. The tool easily translates the supply list from English into Spanish and vice versa. So rather than having two lists on your site, one in English and one in Spanish, you only need one, and that one can easily be read in either language. The other thing that makes this really important is because of our retail integration. Our Spanish-speaking families can easily review and read the child's supply list in Spanish on the TeacherList site, and then add all of the items directly into the shopping cart of their retailer of choice. Where those items may not be translated into Spanish on the retailer site, they can have confidence knowing that they are the correct items that they want because they've seen them and read them in Spanish on the TeacherList site. So we're really proud of that integration. We also offer some cool banners and social graphics that you can use in both English and Spanish as well. The other thing that we offer is a parent notification system, and I think I touched on that earlier, but your school secretary is especially going to love it. Families can sign up to be automatically notified when their lists have been posted or if they've been updated. It's super easy and convenient. And speaking of making things easy, one of the things that we really try hard to do is to make a tedious process easy and simple for you folks, the schools and districts that use us. So as district leaders, we give you the tools to manage the entire process for your whole district right from your TeacherList dashboard. You can easily make changes or edits to a list at any time. As an admin for your district, you can manage the lists for all of your schools, regardless of who posted them. So what we generally recommend is that if you are a district leader, that you become an admin for all of your district schools, and then appoint an admin at each school. Typically, it might be a school secretary, the webmaster, the principal, whoever that key person is within that school community. And you guys know what better than I do that every school district is someone different, right? But having that allows you to go in and make a change or an edit, publish or unpublish a list at a minute's notice, depending on what's needed in your community. We also offer the scheduler feature, which I talked about. That has been a huge help. You can go in and send us your lists or publish your lists, and then say you decide that you want to make some changes, maybe there's something going on in your community, you can unpublish them and schedule them to be published at a different time. However, whatever works for you, we can make that, we can help facilitate that on our end. The evergreen feature, if your lists don't change much year after year, you might want to make them evergreen and they'll automatically roll over in the spring for each school year. So every March or April or towards this late winter months, we go through and we unpublish all of last year's supply lists. And we do that for a couple reasons. One is we know that families are looking to purchase school supply items for the next year, and we don't want them to get confused buying next year's items, buying this year's items thinking they're next year's. So we unpublish them. If you want to continue to keep those lists posted through the end of the school year, you absolutely can. It's just a manual process, and just give us a call and we're happy to help work through that and help you to facilitate that as well. I also mentioned easily share functions. We have some great ways of doing that with some cool banners, social posts, some great ways that you can get some traffic and notifications and views on your social media. So another way we have of sharing our TeacherLists product with others is through our EdTech partners. We work with many of the EdTech partners that you probably already work with, both in school payment formats, in apps, in messaging functions, as well as SIS systems and website storage folks. So however you are working, if you work with any of these folks, I encourage you to investigate the TeacherList integration with them, or certainly give me a call and I'm happy to go through it with you as well. Generally what we find works the best is working with whatever integration your EdTech partner has, as well as adding a hyperlink or a banner link, something onto your website as well. Typically, districts will have something on their district back to school page, a link that goes there that goes right to your district page, and then different hyperlinks or banner links on each of your school pages that will go directly to your school page as well. So I am happy to work through any of that with you and consult with what will work the best for you and for your schools. Everyone is a little bit different, so whatever seems to work the best for you folks. Finally, parents love our platform. It's viewed as a value add. It's totally free for districts. It's totally free for schools. It truly is just something that is easy and convenient, and there's really no downside to it. So every year I receive tons of calls and emails from district leaders who tell me how much their community appreciates our service. One woman in particular said she felt almost guilty taking credit for something that was so simple and actually made her job so much easier. So that was makes us feel that our efforts are really helping. So then, sounds good. Next steps, you want to upload your lists to us. You can use our convenient power loader, or if you're trying to upload multiple schools, feel free to email those lists right to us. You can certainly send them to me at clefarier@teacherlist.com or to our concierge service. Any of us are happy to help you, and I can certainly funnel those over to our digital data team. And finally, I encourage you to ensure that your district and school information is correct on our site. So it's super easy to just, again, navigate to find your district on our site, look at the schools associated with the district and make sure that we have those all correct, including your address and your zip code. That's a lot of times parents, if they just stumble across the TeacherList site, they can access your school by the zip code. So we want to make sure that we have that correct. But ultimately, the best, the most accurate, the easiest way for your families to locate their school supply list is by having that link on your district site that goes right to your district page. So we've tried to make the system as self-service as possible. We know how busy everyone is, so typically, or hopefully, you should see everything that you need on our site. But if you have any questions at all, I encourage you to reach out to me or to our support team. Everyone is more than happy to help out and answer any questions that you may have. So that is it for my presentation. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, I have one question in here. So how much does it cost? Okay, so TeacherList is an entirely free solution. There's absolutely no cost to your teachers, to your schools, or to your parents. So there's no risk. You can start it at any time. However, I would recommend that if you're planning on using our service, that you get going as soon as possible. And that's just to get yourself set up while it's not quite as busy. Typically what I find is when people wait till the end of school, there's so much going on the end of school that it tends to be, you get halfway there and then you're scrambling to finish something. It takes minutes to set it up, to confirm that everything is correct. And then any questions, problems, email me and I'm happy to help you with it. Does anyone have any other questions for me? Okay. Well, thank you folks so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Please, again, my name is Charlene. I'm happy to talk with you. If there's anything else that we can do for you, please get back in touch. Thanks so much. Have a great day.